Hello everybody, hope you're doing well. Eternity of Pain has just dropped. It's okay. I would say that I've had a very mixed fortune with this. Actually, no, I haven't had mixed fortune. I've had largely worse fortune with this than I thought. And I think it's just down to the way that the enemy AI is. A lot of the time when it comes to like curse and stuff, which you can see like, what did I use? I used King Groot. Tried a few ones and it just wasn't a case like I was getting a good rhythm. And the biggest problem with a lot of this is that I need something to do with the biohazard element. So yay, got those two there. Let's kind of like sing praises, and I'll be throwing some footage of that in action in a moment. Is it a long-winded fight? Yes. Is it the best option? No. Tons of options. I've seen Sauron being used. I've seen Ultron being used. Depends how you want to do it. Depends how you want to break it down. For me personally, I was like, I need to do this one and done, because it just was just getting on my nerves, the way that the AI is just like moving, and as well just being so defensive or passive. I think passive is the correct kind of word. And I was like, I threw the question out to a few people, and I even saw on the forums actually, which we're gonna have a look at in a minute because it's kind of like important. But yeah, like I saw like here, so this player Yudi Dagen says the passiveness is unreal, and it's like it's super passive. I think the thing is, if you say to Kabam, did you personally build this particular fight, the AI, to be very passive? And they will go, oh no. Obviously, if they said yes, it's kind of annoying that they're kind of like building it in a certain kind of way. And I've had very mixed fortune. It did cost me health potions, not revives. I've got loads of level 1 revives. But it did cost me a bit when it came to health potions, just to get my health topped back up again. And that's the biggest problem with having Bane and kind of like having to intercept. Because a lot of the time, you need the AI to come to you. And like, you're literally going to spend I mean, this is my personal perspective. It may not be everyone else's. But I don't want to spend literally 30 seconds, well no, that's a bit exaggerating, maybe 10, even 10 seconds, like this. Yeah, you come at me, and the Crossbones the other side going, I gotta move out in a minute. Well, do it then. Move, come at me. So I'm there like going, right, well I'll take another degen, because you can't get the AI to move. I don't want to say you can't, but the AI is just not moving. It's so reluctant to move. And that's something that I've talked about a little while ago on Twitter, the idea that, like, you know, we want to get momentum going here. And I'm watching, the thing is, I've just spent a bit of time like watching a few other kind of like people play it. I've seen one, like a few times where other people, like streamers, MCC YouTubers, whatever, the AI has been moving in a, it's been moving out, but in other times it's like it just doesn't want to move. And I'm like, look, I understand Kabam want to create it a bit more competitive, not competitive, but they want it to make it, you know, adaptive and kind of unexpected, because, you know, it can be too predictive. But it's just like, this is, it just, maybe this plays into what Kabam want to build with the Eternity of Pain. But I guess the difference is like you're playing around against counters for nodes rather than AI movement. In any case, I'm not going to bore you with any kind of complaints on it, because at the end of the day, I did it, it's done, and I don't have to worry about it for another week. And I got the 1 piece of gold, and also the other, so I got 3 pieces of gold by using King Groot for my trouble. So I'm going to throw up some footage right about now, or over the top of this section of this video, just like showcasing some stuff with it. It wasn't the cleanest of fights, and it did take an absolute like stonks of time to do, but I needed to play around with several things. So the first thing I needed to play around with was biohazard. Biohazard's annoying in any case, so having a champion to deal with that is important. Vital strike, so a lot of the time you are on the front foot to intercept, or rotating around Crossbones to an SP1 when he wants to throw it. When he wants to throw that SP1, and you're there again watching him going, yes, Kabam. Can he throw it? No, he can't, because this is meant to be Eternity of Pain, and Kabam have made that the AI is obviously built in a certain way to be defensive. Or maybe that's just every time that there's a Bane node and something that has to go with it, like a power gain or something like that. But in this case, there's no power gain with it. Inflated Ego is a little bit annoying, so the defender takes 100% less damage while they have less than 3 buffs applied to them. King Groot's good because he's got SP1 rotation on Armor Break, which kind of triggers off the extent of Purification and kind of allows kind of Crossbones to build up more. You can push Crossbones in order to build his kind of go into Overrun, I think it is, which then allows kind of like for the building of lots more Fury buffs, which can be really helpful. So if you can push him into that, then that's great. But yeah, that's that out of the way. There's the footage on screen right now, and now let's kind of like move on to some other talking points, which is just quickly Eternity of Pain based stuff. It's great to see loads of people using Dragon Man. I'd love to use Dragon Man if I had Dragon Man. That would be nice, but I don't have Dragon Man because everyone else in their mate has Dragon Man. Like, you know, what am I looking at? Well, I've got a 5-star Dragon Man, but I'm certainly not ranking him up just for this quest. But yeah, you do you at the end of the day what you want to use. XL champions, villain champions. Ultron's good for this. Who else is good for this? Who's the other XL champions? Well, we just said, you know, not Sauron. Well, Sauron. I think Sauron's XL. But Dragon Man, definitely XL. I did try Nimrod. Didn't really kind of mess with it that much. Didn't really enjoy it that much. But not to say he isn't. It's just a case of like times of the factor, and I wanted to kind of get on with kind of like making this video and also getting to the stream, which I am a little bit late for. So yeah, come on by to Twitch. We're going to be playing a little bit of Warzone. The biggest not problem, but the thing to kind of like mention about this particular event is this here. So Command Maker says a Thronebreaker player can earn 17 points during this event, 3 from each of the week-long quest / fights, and 5 from the final Gauntlet quest, which is like, meh. Okay. So what was that? 5 times 3 is 50. Hang on, I thought it was meant to be 5 weeks. I think there's a lot of stuff that needs to be kind of like figured out with this because, but it's weird because if you look in game at the moment, which we're going to like showcase right now as soon as we go in, under the Eternity of Pain, it reads that on the point situation that you will at 16 points get Milestone 7, and on Milestone 7. You get that, which is the 22,000 Tier 3 Alpha, and then the Tier 6 Basic. Now, I think this goes on for a while. Like, it's a longer stretch of this particular one. So, like, after... Well, it says 48 days on this. So, I don't know if there's some sort of reset for the next one. Or how it works. Yeah, it is a bit annoying not to be Paragon, I must admit. Because, like, getting those gains is great. I mean, I'm nowhere near. Like, I've got to do more Karina's challenges at the weekend. And maybe grind some units. I don't know. I may focus more of my attention and grind into doing Eternity of Pain. I don't know. I need to do the sums for that. That's another story for tomorrow's video, I think. I'm going to look into that and from a free-to-play perspective as well. So there's that, but also the extent of like, well, why 17 points when it's like, well, I suppose it's like if you make a mistake on one day, then you at least get that opportunity to go, oh, well, I'll, you know, get 16 instead and still get the W with it. Don't know, but it runs for 48 days, which is a bit, maybe that's the delivery point of like the reward. So it's like after 48 days, which again, I still find weird because it's 5 weeks, isn't it? 4 weeks of like normal, and then one final week is the Gauntlet, where you get the remaining kind of like 5 points from. So on the final Gauntlet thing, which I'm still deciding whether or not I want to do that, because you can only bring 3 champions in from what I gather from the leaks. So making a decision about champions that cover a broad spectrum, but also if you're covering certain elements of some very wonky Kabam AI, then it kind of like puts into question whether or not you'd actually feel like you want to bother. Because that's another thing as well, of going like, okay, right, well, if you only want to do less than the points available, so you don't want to do the final Gauntlet, then you get that choice, don't you, of going, okay, well, you only get up to 12. So if you don't want to do the Gauntlet, you can only get 12 points, which puts you down in this kind of territory right here, which for me, it's like I don't know what I really want to do with that. Like, I need to think about the investment, and I think a lot of players that are free to play need to make that assessment whether or not it's going to be worth your time to invest into that, and think also, you know, if it's going to be tough, if it's going to be easy for you, or it's going to be straightforward. Then hey, it's straightforward and easy for you. Well done, you. But for those that maybe kind of like could have a little bit of struggle with it, I think it's going to be an important measure to say how much you want to invest into it from a perspective of, is it going to be worth it? If you've got like a stash available for this and you might want to do it, then again, you've got to make that decision. Are you going to hoard units now for the final event, final part of it? Are you instead going to opt for something like July 4th deals? Those are going to be some crucial questions you have to ask for yourself. I'm being very careful about my own personal burnout from the game. Now that I've gone non-spending, and I'm kind of enjoying playing other games, I need to kind of have this kind of like good balance between still keeping my interest and fun with the game, but also not extensively grinding that I'm grabbing units or health potions and stuff like that to do this if I make mistakes. And that's just the problem thing, is keeping that nice balance to go, look, you're still happy with the game, but you don't want to feel the pressures of what a game is meant to be fun. So it's kind of like having those good balances, but also being, you know, challenged. I'm not going to, you know, say you shouldn't be challenged. But there we go. That's really that covered with that. I will be doing some totals on this particular situation tomorrow. It's certainly been an interesting start to Eternity of Pain. I would say that apart from the AI being terrible, a few dropped inputs, but not as much as, say, the input, you know, refactor issues. I would say just the enemy AI has just been so placid and kind of passive. So passive is the right word there. That it just kind of like sucks a little bit of fun from it, which I think last year was kind of good, because even though we had dropped input problems, you know, the AI seemed to function relatively well. This time, having AI that's just not moving up for me, it just suck a little bit of fun from the game mode for me, if I'm being honest. But we'll see what happens throughout the month and the weeks. So yeah, on to next week with the next Eternity of Pain challenge. Thank you very much for watching this video. Who did you use in the challenge? Put it in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next video, whenever that will be. And come along to the stream a bit later on. Look out for the community announcement and a Twitter announcement and Discord announcement in a moment. Cheers, everybody. Bye-bye.